Before this reunion in London, these men were Guantanamo detainees in the War on Terror. They were called the worst of the worst. Yet none of these men were ever charged with a crime. They were at the wrong place and time, they had the wrong appearance, and practiced the wrong religion, and for that they were kidnapped, detained, interrogated, and tortured without trial or evidence. Now they are free men. But the American system of due process that's supposed to prove the guilty and protect the innocent didn't exist for these men.
I was held for a total of 3 years. 3 years without charge, without trial, without any explanation, and I was released without charge, without trial, and without any explanation.
He's a free man now. But when Moazzam Begg was captured and sent to Guantanamo, he was a British resident helping build a school in Afghanistan. Now he's getting to know his own kids who were too young to remember their dad.
My youngest daughter recognized who I was because I think my wife must have told her through the photographs as to who Dad is, but she refused to look at me. And the son that I've never seen cried the moment I tried to touch him because I was just a stranger to him. And my wife looked exactly the same as she had the night that I'd been taken away from her.
I experienced sadness in a state that I never have. Cruelty in a depth that I never seen in my life. But you will not leave a similar person anymore. You will leave as broken, physically broken, psychologically broken wretches.
Omar DeHaze grew up and went to law school in England. He became Guantanamo prisoner 727 after going to Afghanistan to study its legal system. He also married an Afghan woman there. Omar uses drawings to help tell his story of torture.
Put in this kind of position, and then God pushed his fingers into both my eyes, where I lost the sight in one of my eyes.
I remember being spat at. I remember the dogs being brought so close to me that I could almost feel the saliva dropping off the dog's mouth.
You cover your head with the black bag again, suffocate from it. And they'd be laughing. Sometimes they'd pass and hit you with the electric gun if they wanted, sometimes, and they'd laugh about that.
But despite the hood, I could make out flashes, constant flashes of light, and they were evidently trophy pictures. Prisoner 421, and I remember his number because his back used to be towards me when his hands were tied up. He had slumped, his body had slumped. They had clearly put him there to break him, started punching him and then unshackled him, punching him to see if he was putting it on, and then they dragged him away and beat him some more, and eventually he was killed.
To say it's depressing, to say it's demoralizing, to say that one has lost hope is all true. Solitary confinement in Guantanamo, really, I mean, it's a place where people lose their minds.
Bisher al-Rawi came to England from Iraq at age 16 when his family fled Saddam Hussein's regime. At 32, he went to Gambia to open a peanut factory, where he was kidnapped by Gambian intelligence officers and turned over to the CIA.
The first few years, 2 or 3 years of my capture, I always thought that soon enough they will realize that I'm innocent and I'll be released. Soon enough that will happen, soon enough that will happen, but that never did. Before Guantanamo, I had many interests. Skydiving, sea diving, and all sorts of exciting sports. I cycle as well. So quite a lot of things I used to do. I didn't quite feel right, but once I got on my bike, really, I felt like I'm almost back to my old self. One struggled after the release. You don't know where you are. You don't know the real world, how to function in the real world.
Ruhal Ahmed and Shafiq Razul were among the youngest sent to Guantanamo. They were both born in England, where they grew up as childhood friends.
I mean, we was young when we was arrested. I was like, what, 18, still immature. And, we was in prison and things happen, and we've always been immature. Even like I'm married now, some people still say I'm still immature. And it's the way we are.
I hate him.
You hate him?
I'll hate him till the day he dies.
I love the way he keeps his cap on. Which he never takes off.
They went to a friend's wedding in Pakistan, but ended up detained by the US in Afghanistan, then Guantanamo.
Throughout our stay in Guantanamo, we was all physically and psychologically and sexually abused in many forms.
Guantanamo Bay was hell for us for 2.5 years, and that's never going to...
It's just asking, it's like just asking a woman who's just been raped, will her life go back to normality? Never. It's impossible. And we've been in the same boat.
Well, it's always embarrassing, isn't it, when it comes to sexual abuse? That's why people would just go very quickly on it. They just mention sexual abuse and pass it because of the ugliness of it. People were sodomized inside Guantanamo Bay. I know the people that happened to them. Some of them with sticks of broomsticks, sometimes hands, things like that, just to humiliate and break people down. The guy al-Amri, I remember his voices in my ears before he died, days before he died, and he's saying to me, "Is the things that happened to me happening to you, to your blood?" I said to him, I shouted back, I said, "What do you think?"
I think what made us kind of survive Guantanamo was the fact that we was young. I was not there on my own. So anything that happened to me, I could relate to somebody that was very close to me. Being best friends from a young age, you know, who else could you want in that kind of situation?
Allahu Akbar.
Strong faith was a common source of strength for the detainees.
I memorized some of the largest chapters of the Quran, and some of them had great meaning for me, and a very spiritually uplifting thing. On the story of Joseph, who is in prison for a crime that he doesn't commit.
It taught us to be patient. It taught us that, you know, it's a trial, life's about a trial.
And that helped me to resign myself to that fate, no matter what they do to me. They really can't take away what's in my heart.
Omar imagined the view from his home in England while in Guantanamo. The scene from his living room window now hangs on the wall as a painting of what sustained him throughout his detention. Dealing with life after Guantanamo is different for every detainee. There are many contrasts as they cope with the trauma.
I used to plan before I was young, but obviously the plans got destroyed because I was in prison. So I don't really hope. I just take it day by day. I live for the day.
Almost instantly after getting off the plane from Guantanamo, I'd come back home and found that the fire wasn't working, the gas fire wasn't working, and I began to try to fix it and asked if my toolbox was still here.
Starting the bike for the first time was really something. You know, you press a button, and you hear it starts, and it really is beautiful. You know, you could feel the engine running inside of you.
My experience of America prior to this was everything that I'd seen in the films. The concept of the good guys, the concept of people trying to do the right thing. And that was shattered.
The drinks we drink, Coca-Cola, it's American. We still drink it, we still go to the movies and watch movies. So I don't think nobody hates, you know, we don't hate Americans as American people.
I want the people themselves, the humans in America, the good people, which I met many of, to realize how in their names those ugly people have done to others.
Within a 48-hour period, we were taken out of a supermax prison, and we were walking the streets of London. Why did I get released? I was made to feel like I was the worst of the worst. If I was so bad, why am I here?